In this video, we're going to talk about sector area, and you all calculated sector area last year in geometry. And if you can remember, a sector area is the area of part of a circle, not an entire circle. And you know that the area of a circle can be calculated by taking or calculating pi r squared. So let's talk about how to find sector area again. So when we're taking a look at a circle, if we only want part of a circle, let's say we want the area of this part of a circle. So we're going to create an angle in our circle, and we only want the area of this part of the circle and not the entire circle. Well, let's talk about how we can do that. If we know our angle measure here, okay, let's just say that's theta. If we can calculate the entire area of a circle, we can figure out what percentage of that area we actually need. So to calculate the entire area of a circle, we would be calculating this. And we know that the area of a circle, area equals pi r squared. But how do you calculate the percent of a circle that you actually, or the percentage of the circle you actually need? Well, that's quite easy. We know that 360 degrees in radians is really 2 pi. And if we know our angle theta and it's measured in radians, we can calculate a percentage. So here, what percent of this area do we need? We need our calculation, our measure of our angle theta in radians over 2 pi, because a complete rotation around your circle is 2 pi radians. If you know that in degrees, we can take our angle in degrees and divide it, instead of by 2 pi, we can divide it by 360 degrees, and that gives us the percentage of the overall area of the circle we need in this little piece right here. That's colored in green. So let's come up with a formula for doing that. The formula for calculating sector area. And let's see, our sector area, I'm going to write it with a fancy A. Sector area is going to be the percentage of the circle that we need. So, and I'm going to do this calculation in radians for this. Theta over 2 pi. So there's no degree symbol, so it needs to be in radians, times the area of our entire circle. Okay, so it is the area of your entire circle times the percentage of the circle that you need. Okay, so let's work a couple of problems here. The very first problem we have down here on the left is one of the examples in section 3.2. And they're asking us to calculate the sector area of the area of a field, a farmer's field that needs to be irrigated. And it's a circular field. The sprinkler head goes in a circular fashion, and it needs to cover an angle of 15 degrees, and it has a radius of 321 meters. So how much area is this sprinkler head covering? How much area is it covering? How much area is it irrigating? So let's go ahead and calculate our area. First, we need to let's convert our angle into radians so that we can use our new formula. 15 degrees. To convert to radians, remember we multiply pi over 180. So when we do this conversion, we're going to get pi over 15 into 18 goes once with a remainder of 3. 15 into 30 is twice. So 15 degrees is really pi over 12 radians. And now we're going to use our area formula, our sector area formula. And we're going to say, okay, pi over 12, and we're going to multiply that by 1 over 2 pi. And then we're going to multiply that by the area of the entire circle that has a radius of 321 meters. So we're going to say pi r squared times pi times 321 squared. So if we do this calculation, you can see that our pi's cancel out here, and we end up with 1 over 24 times pi times 321 squared. So when we plug that into our calculator, do your squared first, then multiply by pi, then divide by 24. And you can see that it covers approximately 13,488 square meters. So now let's take a look at a problem that's going to be similar to something you have on your homework, problem number 44. This one's asking us to calculate the sector area that's shaded in yellow, but they only give us the radius, and they give us this number on the outside of our circle here. That number on the outside of your circle is going to represent your arc length. So while they give us the radius and the arc length, what they don't give us is our angle measure. So we are going to take our arc length. We know that the formula for measuring arc length is our radius times our angle. We know what our arc length is, so we're going to plug in 4 pi for our arc length, and we're going to plug in 8 for our radius, and we're going to calculate our angle. We're going to divide both sides by 8, and we get pi over 2. So the angle of the sector area that we're trying to calculate is pi over 2 radians. And we're just going to plug that into our formula. We're going to take our formula for area. We're going to take pi over 2. We're going to multiply it or divide it by 2 pi or multiply it by 1 over 2 pi. And then we're going to multiply by pi r squared. R here is 8, so we're going to square that. When we take a look at this, our pi's cancel out, and we have 1 over 4 times pi times 8 squared is 64. We know that 4 goes into 64 16 times. So our final sector area is 16 pi units squared, and they didn't give us units here, so it's just units squared. And that is the end of our video for sector area.